Hello, my boils, my ghouls, and my zools. Welcome back to Kalash. So today we are taking a look at an uncharacteristically very tactical rifle. This would be an M+M Industries M10X Plus. There are a few differences from the original M10X, namely being the receiver. The original receiver was a cast receiver. It is now running on a milled receiver. The original cast receiver, that's really not a problem. You know, some people did talk some shit about it, but, you know, you got the Galil Ace too, so not a huge deal. But they are now running on a milled receiver. You know, you do have some very familiar controls on it, very AR-like controls. You know, very AK silhouette. However, this is not an AK underneath. You might see an AK mag sticking out, but, you know, it's really just kind of more like a SIG 550 in AK clothing. That's really what this is. So, we couldn't use this guy at lethal weapons this year. It does not pass the silhouette test as much as it does resemble an AK. It really is not an AK. You don't even have iron sights on it, actually. The charging handle here can be swapped to either side, so very nice. I just have it in the, you know, nice familiar spot right here. Surprisingly, with this bolt sticking right here for the magnifier, it's not really a problem charging it, luckily, so, you know. So you can hear the action is very, very smooth, and very nice lockup on the mags. You know, just like any AK mag well, you know, you're gonna have to find your mags that fit, find your mags that don't, but pretty much every mag I have fits in here. You know, some of them tighter than others, but yeah, I haven't really had an issue with mag fitment. You know, like I have like this one Bulgarian mag that doesn't seem to want to go into a couple AKs, fits in here just fine. So can't really complain about that. Mostly in this guy, I've been running the Bulgarian M+M imported magazines, the waffle magazines and the steel magazines, but we're just rocking a regular old school ISD Bulgarian right here. There is not a ton of history on the M10X. You know, you had some reviews way back in the day. There were some issues. The company itself, they acknowledged the issues and did fix those issues. Be honest with you, I don't remember exactly what they were. I remember it was like some bad reviews from, what was it, Military Arms Channel, I think it was, and AK Operators Union. It was way back in the day when this thing first came out. And, you know, like all guns when they're first coming out, it wasn't running so hot at the time. Nowadays, it's running fucking great. So, you know, they did fix those problems. A lot of people need to hear that. They're running just fine now. They're running just fine. So, you know, that's, I mean, it's kind of an issue when like big reviewers like that fuck things up, because, you know, it doesn't really help your sales when you're trying to start out as a company. That wasn't the start of the company, though. M+M has been around since I think it's 2005, and they were originally importing FALs, I believe. And then they moved on to working with Shigur in Romania, and they were importing their own M10 pistols. And, you know, there were, I believe, a couple variances from the ones they were pumping out at the time. You know, namely, I remember you had a 90-degree gas block on the full-sized rifles. Yeah, I remember there was a difference or two here or there, but they were importing their own Romanian rifles, and believe it was about 2014 or so, 2013, they started designing their own rifle, and you know, a few years later they came out with, you know, the M10X, the original cast trunnion, or, you know, cast receiver. Largely this rifle, just, you know, a couple of variances here and there with manufacturing and obviously you know, the construction. Not a ton of history behind the rifle. You know, they really, the big news is that, you know, they were importing Romanian guns, and then, you know, they had some problems with Century, and they were making their own guns way back in the day, had an issue and fixed the issue, and now they're running great, just trying to sell some guns. You know, they're having some issues, especially with, you know, these are legal in Canada. And, you know, Canada has been cracking down pretty hardcore on guns, so hasn't been the easiest time for M+M. You know, that's one of their main markets. So, you know, when they start fucking around with the laws, you know, it can cause some serious trouble with a company that is not very big. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't believe they even have 20 employees, something like that. They're very small. So, they were kind enough to send me over this rifle to check out, and I ended up giving it a nice, good shoot. I actually originally checked out the prototype. Did share a short of that way back in the day. I can share that again here if I can, you know, find that.
Or is cheap ammo like yesterday?
And so eventually I ended up taking this guy to Kalash Bash, actually. And unfortunately, I had been shooting, you know, I got the rifle super late. I only had, I think, about 5 days with it before Lethal Weapons, and I had to zero up and head out and go shoot. And so all I had was some pretty bad ammo. What was it? BSA. It was the Czech ammo. Real terrible shit. And I was getting some real inconsistent loads all over the place. And at some point during practicing in Zero, I had busted a extractor spring, and fortunately it wasn't like, or it was actually just bent. You know, it wasn't even busted. So, you know, don't know what that was about. Could have been a billion things, but anyway, rolled into Lethal Weapons. That's coming up. Rolled into Kalash Bash, and you know, went through the first stage. Everything was going fine. Had a drum-related malfunction. You know, you can see that here.
August, at any point in this stage, you can walk backwards. Hit. 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 Fucking drums.
Yeah, going through the stages was, you know, largely fine, and then come to a stage and I was having, you know, an issue with extracting. I was noticing it was stovepiping, and I was like, oh shit, you know. So I was having to shake some rounds out, and then ended up having to table the rifle and go to my backup. And unfortunately, my backup was having some kind of issue. You know, mag-related issue, actually.
Stand by! Three hits. And you got the far right seal. Ah.
valuable. It's an excellent technique. Those motherfuckers go. Oh wow.
3 hits. One more if you can. Hit! Got that one.
What? I guess it was.
Just the middle steel. Hit! Hit! Far left. 6-8-3.
I ended up actually using a prototype rifle from Texas Weapons Systems. It was one of their, I think they call it the IK-103. Blue Jean Operator was out there shooting it, and man, that fucking gun, that was real nice, dude. That was a really nice gun. And also, I used Saucy Loadout's gun for a stage too, and check him out on Instagram. It was a real nice, like 104 kind of thing, with you know, a real nice muzzle device setup. Holy shit! Had the chemo with the hub mount and the blast can on there. This is a fucking expensive ass setup right there, man. It'll cost you about the price of a Pioneer. Rip. You know, I'm not one of those. I know there's a bunch of people that were like celebrating for some reason. I'm like, man, you know, like I wasn't happy with KUSA going under. I was just hoping they would go, you know, get sold to somebody that would do better, you know, but yeah, no, that didn't happen. And you know, Pioneer just suddenly vanishing, you know, that really sucks, I think, you know. I don't have a ton of experience with their rifles, but every single one of them I've shot was, I mean, not a complete piece of junk. I've shot worse rifles like Viscas and shit like that. I mean, it just wasn't like the best rifle. But it was fine for the price, like fucking $600, dude. Whatever, not a bad deal for the price. Honestly, I'd take it over a PSA, frankly. You know, I support M+M. You know, it's a small company, and seriously, you know, they're trying their best. They really are listening to customers. They are actually doing, you know, the thing of listening to customer complaints, listening to customer concerns, wants and stuff like that. I mean, the biggest thing everybody wants is a 5.56 version of that, and that really just comes down to development money, you know, and production money. I mean, I'm sure it could be developed fairly easily. You look at the internals of this thing, and I mean, it's pretty much a SIG 550 with like an AR bolt. And I mean, it's pretty cool looking in here. We'll take a look. Actually, speaking of the internals of this, you know, we could actually talk a little the, you know, SIG 550 history, because I mean, that's actually, I mean, not crazy, but I mean, surprisingly like long development time before it ended up getting adopted, because they started development on that gun in what was it, 1978, and it was originally based around the 6.45 by 48 cartridge, which is kind of similar to a 308. And about 1981, during the development cycle, they dumped it in favor of 5.56. So in 1983, the gun comes out for the civilian market with the 5.56 by 45 cartridge under the designation SG541, and that was shortly changed about a year later to SG550, and that was the civilian designation. It wasn't until 1990 the military would adopt it. That would be with the designation STGW90. 1990, Sturmgewehr, 1990. And the development didn't stop there. The rifle was originally developed with modularity in mind, with the goal of equipping frontline as well as rear echelon troops, being able to have a long barrel rifle or a short barrel carbine, a bipod, a couple different cartridge variations. You of course had the 5.56 variant. There was a 7.62 by 3.9, a 300 blackout, a 7.62 by 5.1 variant, and eventually a 6.5 Creedmoor variant. Now the M10X only comes in 7.62. As I was saying, you know, development money is a thing, and, you know, to get more calibers, you need more money. You know, one thing that would be possible with it, you know, regarding the modularity that it has retained from the SIG 550, I would love to see a long barrel like RPK version, because you can get an 18-inch like DMR barrel for these. Would be cool to see like a 22-inch, even a 20-inch with a bipod, you know. I would definitely be down to see something like that, but I suppose that all depends on sales. So, how I was saying, it's like a, SIG 550 and AK clothing. Biggest difference being the operating system. The gas system, largely the same. You have gas comes up through the gas port, pushes a piston back, action comes back, cycles the action, round loads and chambers, and you are ready to fire again. Biggest difference with the action is it has a action that is derivative of the SIG 550 and SIG 553, where the spring is actually in front, and when the carrier goes back, it is actually contracting back instead of contracting to the rear. So recoil sends it back, its spring pulls it back, loads a new round, chambers, ready to go. Pretty interesting system. Very, very different than your traditional AK, so it is definitely not an AK. Could you redesign that to be like a traditional AK? Absolutely. Actually, you could. But all the space is there because there was actually a variant of the SIG 500 series that did have the recoil spring in the rear, which I believe that would be the SIG 551. I'm not a huge SIG expert, so take that with a grain of salt, but I do know the huge differences with the action were mostly between the placement of the recoil spring, and between the SIG 550 and 553 you did have the different wrapping of the recoil spring as well. So, there definitely was design history to this. It did keep in development well after it was released to the civilian market, and very, very much so after it was introduced into into military service. Really, my impressions of it, well, we could go down the rifle a little bit. Starting up here, you have M10 M&M's Chaos flash hider. It is a ported, not really birdcage flash hider. It's a 4-prong. Well, I guess, yeah, you just say a 4-prong ported flash hider. It's rather short, surprisingly effective on the recoil. Usually when you have ports all the way around, it's not going to be that effective on the recoil, but it surprisingly works pretty well. Going down, you have the adjustable gas, and that's where you have your normal settings and your suppressed settings. And you have a rather long gas tube coming down here. I don't want to go ahead and start disassembling the front half of this rifle. It's not a pain in the ass or anything, but we're just not going to do that right now. We're going to have a follow-up episode with some more shooting and really, show you the ins and outs of this thing. Today, we're just kind of talking about it a little bit. So going down, yeah, we have a rather long gas tube, and of course your barrel. Barrel is not pinned in like an AK, it does screw in, and you have a monolithic handguard. There is one handguard for all the lengths, so you have a 12.5 standard, and you have a 16-inch, is it 16.5? Because the original 6550s come in a 16.3. So, yeah, you have the 12.5, the 16, and you have an 18-inch barrel as well. I would love to see a 14.5 with like maybe a choice of muzzle devices, because as much as I can say this is a pretty effective muzzle device, I am definitely going to change it out for a compensator so we get something slightly more effective for my purposes, which would be flattening the shot out for competition. Now, moving down, as I said, you do have a charging handle that can be swapped to either side. Just, push in and you twist, and, you can swap it very, very fast. You do have the M+M mag release, which has a couple holes in here, so you could attach a, push button style, mag release, like a Krebs or something like that if you wanted to. These are compatible with the Krebs extended magwell and, push button dealy. I think this would be a pretty cool rifle to put that on. So I think we're going to have to see about that. Because being that we have a monolithic handguard and, you know, not really a ton you can do, I would like to do as much as you can do to this thing. So really all I have done so far is just add this forward grip, which is a Vitamin K Industries, Vitamin K Laboratories, I guess we're calling it the Goblin Grip adapter. And we have a Vitamin K fake light grip on the front here. And basically what this is a AK to M-Lock adapter, which we will be putting out very, very soon. Going down, you do have kind of a, SIG 550 AR style kind of safety. So, you know, you can kind of thumb down with it on one side and then up on the other side like you would with an ambidextrous AR safety. Pretty cool. So as far as the grip goes, you will notice the trigger guard looks pretty similar to an AK trigger guard because it is an AK trigger guard. So it does take standard AK grips, which is real nice because I just went ahead and threw a Polish fatty on here. As much as the original M10X grip is pretty nice. It is actually pretty nice. In fact, let me show it to you real quick. So this is the original grip off the M10X Plus. I do like it a lot. You can see it's kind of a fatty. Oh, it's definitely a fatty. So here's an actual Polish fatty, and here's this thing. So it's pretty fat. It's kind of stout. You know, it's not a very long grip. It is a little bit shorter than a Polish fatty. Actually, yeah, you can see I don't know how well you can see that. Yeah, it's like just ever so slightly shorter, but it doesn't have the beveled bottom on it. It does have like kind of a vague AK look to it. You have these nice groove marks in it too. It's nice like lateral stippling. It's a very, very nice grip. I like it a lot, but you know, had to get some AK on it, so threw a Polish fatty on there. These do come with a Zukov stock. However, you can change out the rear trunnion for a 2-bolt stock. And, you know, use any other 2-bolt you want, which could really be anything, a triangle, a JMac, you know, we'll throw something on. Would be kind of cool if there was an adapter to get a traditional AK stock on here. That would be pretty neat, but not a lot of aftermarket going on for the M10X. Hopefully that changes in the future. You know, being that it's just rocking a Zukov, I threw this Davidoff cheek pad over it, you know, and as far as optics, I am just rocking an EOTech and a Vortex magnifier. This was for Kalash Bash, you know, just checking it out. I did subsequently take this out to a 3-gun match because, I mean, it did get fixed pretty immediately because luckily Mike, one of the M's in M+M, was obviously there at Kalash Bash, as, you know, they were sponsoring me the rifle, and immediately took a look at it and found, obviously, the bent extractor spring, changed that guy out, tuned the rifle a little bit for me, and shot some of their ammo through it, and it was running perfectly fine. So, you know, it was fixed rather quickly. It was, you know, literally minutes, and then he was just doing a little tuning on it. I can't tell you exactly how you do that with these guys yet, because I'm still learning the platform, but it was a whole new rifle after that, I'll tell you what. I mean, oh my God. And, you know, you do have some pretty interesting stuff going on with the gas too. So, you know, you can switch back and forth between your adverse and your regular setting. And, you know, when it comes down to the, one interesting thing is, you know, like, you tend to add more gas if you're having some extraction issues. And I actually found it's kind of ammo dependent, but I was actually having some, you know, I was running a variety of ammo at first, and I was having some extraction issues. and it was coming down to some steel not extracting. So I turned the gas down, and then it started extracting just fine. So pretty interesting. You know, there's definitely some different stuff going on as far as tuning in gas and, you know, these, I mean, I imagine designing one of these, probably not the easiest task. It's certainly a very, very interesting look on the inside under the hood. But like I said, you know, we're going to take a look more in the inside of this. Next episode, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, talk about a little bit where it came from, and we're going to do some shooting, take a look at its guts, and throw some parts on it next episode. What do you say? What do you say, guy? Huh? All right. Well, that's it. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Have fun. Do stupid.